Join us as we cover all the latest F1 news as the world of F1 gears up to the start of the 2023 season. You won't want to miss this one. Let's get straight into it. 3 reasons why Red Bull will dominate the upcoming F1 season. As we gear up for an exciting 2023 season, and with positive news coming out of the Ferrari and Mercedes camps, fans around the world are hoping for a 3-way battle for the championship. Sky F1 reporter Ted Kravitz fears that these hopes are futile for 3 reasons. With expected improvements from Mercedes and Ferrari, and a budget cap penalty for Red Bull, some are optimistic that the all-conquering champions of 2022 could face a tough challenge this year. But Kravitz, the veteran paddock reporter of Ted's Notebook fame, has 3 compelling reasons why Christian Horner, Max Verstappen and co are likely to reign supreme once again. In a recent chat with colleague Craig Slater, Kravitz explained that Red Bull will be starting with a lightweight chassis that they introduced, designed and made towards the end of last season. This is a significant advantage for the team, as they'll be able to fine-tune and perfect the chassis for maximum performance throughout the upcoming season. They will start that as a base, they will have developed that so it will be underweight, and they can ballast it up to meet the weight limit. Benefit 1. While the reduction in aero testing will undoubtedly have an impact eventually, Kravitz suggests that it won't be enough to put a dent in Red Bull's chances this season. Benefit 2, they will have done all the aerodynamic work and design before the restrictions they had on their accepted breach agreement of the cost cap restrictions came in. Their penalty for that, he reasoned. So they've done all the work before that even comes in. Towards the end of this year and next year, it will start to bite. So both of these reasons are about the car. The last one on Kravitz's list is all about the man of the hour, none other than Max Verstappen. Number 3, they have the best driver on the grid in terms of form at the moment, even considering Lewis Hamilton. Lewis's form, we haven't seen the championship form of Lewis yet, because he hasn't been in a championship since the end of 2021, which we know what happened then. Max Verstappen is bang in form, and I think that is the third part of their secret weapon, which should make them nigh on unbeatable. Mercedes' failure in testing and the plan B they have up their sleeve. Mercedes launched their 2023 car, the W14, and dominated headlines with their official shakedown test at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell got their first taste of the car, with both drivers feeling positive about the team's performance. Hamilton is excited about the season and hopes for an impressive car after a challenging previous season. The Germans have worked hard to reduce the weight of the W14, with an estimated gain of up to 3 tenths per lap. Mercedes is expected to be up in the top 3, but the question on everyone's mind is if they will be ahead of Red Bull and Ferrari. The world will find out in Bahrain if Mercedes is truly back this year. Are Mercedes in trouble ahead of the 2023 F1 season? While the team has reportedly made strides in their engine power and car weight, reports suggest they've hit a snag with their suspension. According to sources, Mercedes found faults with their carbon suspension arms and are now scrambling to manufacture metallic ones instead. The problem is said to be significant, with the car's carbon tub also flexing more than intended. While the car passed its FIA crash test, it's understood that Mercedes will need to add weight to the W14 to solve the tub issue, which could be an easy fix. Skysports F1 analyst Ted Kravitz reports that if Mercedes continues to face persistent problems, the team has an alternative car concept that aligns more closely with Red Bull's design. The concept could potentially be introduced during the season, should the team's issues from the previous season persist. They're giving their big idea, which was a failure last year, one more go. But I believe they have a plan B in production, said Kravitz. If they need to, they can go to a plan B, which is the Red Bull or Ferrari style of doing things in the middle of the season. Toto Wolff has also been careful about his words when talking about Mercedes' chances of being competitive in the 2023 season, as he told media, "We are now getting ready to start the next season. I see so much effort, motivation and energy in the organisation to launch a car that will eventually be competitive enough to fight at the very front of the grid." Going on to talk about the word eventually, Toto said, "I was contemplating about that word for 15 minutes when we talked about the press release, because on one side, you want to say we will be competitive. On the other side, you need to stay humble and realistic, so you could be saying, I hope that we will be competitive." How Lance Stroll has been replaced by the boy from Brazil as he's forced out of preseason testing. Unfortunately, Lance Stroll, who is set to be partnered by Fernando Alonso this season, will be sitting out of preseason testing due to injuries sustained in a bike accident. Stroll was training on his bicycle when he was involved in a minor accident that has left him unable to participate in the 3-day test at Bahrain starting on February 23rd. With the first race of the season just around the corner at the same venue next week, fears are growing over his fitness for the big event. In a statement, Stroll shared, "I've had an unfortunate accident whilst training on my bike in preparation for the season. I am determined to get back in the car and I'm excited about the season ahead with the team. I am motivated to bounce back from this setback as quickly as possible." The Aston Martin team is closely monitoring his progress and assessing his fitness to return to the cockpit daily. The team has promised to issue an update ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. This incident is eerily reminiscent of new teammate Alonso's bike accident during training for his F1 comeback 2 years ago, which left the Spaniard with a steel plate inserted in his face. It's certainly not the news that Aston Martin was hoping for, and they may need to call in either Felipe Drugovich or Stoffel van Dorn to take up reserve duties if Stroll is unable to participate in the first race of the year. This isn't the first time that Aston Martin has had to field a reserve driver, as Nico Hülkenberg stepped in for Sebastian Vettel in the opening 2 rounds last season. Let's hope that Stroll is able to recover quickly and get back on track in no time. Until then, Aston Martin have decided not to run solely with Fernando Alonso and named Felipe Drugovich as their test driver. That's right, the young Brazilian is set to replace Lance Stroll, and we and all of Brazil can't wait to see him in action. Now, if you hadn't heard of Drugovich before, he has an impressive CV. He triumphed in the Euro Formula Open Championship, the Spanish F3 Championship, and the MRF Challenge. And get this, he'll also be participating in the 2023 Race of Champions in Sweden. Drugovich was promoted to Aston Martin Reserve after winning the F2 title last year, and we're thrilled that he'll be attending the Bahrain test to share driving duties with none other than Fernando Alonso. On Thursday morning, Drugovich is scheduled to drive the AMR23, and Alonso will take over in the afternoon. Now, why is everyone getting excited? Well, for one, let's be honest, no one apart from the Strolls are excited to see Lance Stroll behind the wheel, coupled with the prospect of a new generation of Brazilian. Enough said. Brazilian drivers have always brought something special to the track, with their distinctive racing techniques adding an extra edge of excitement to the sport. From the likes of Emerson Fittipaldi to Nelson Piquet and Ayrton Senna, these Brazilian legends have won multiple championships and left us in awe with their incredible skills behind the wheel. But since Felipe Massa's retirement from F1 in 2017, the sport has been missing the services of a true Brazilian boy on the grid. Fans have been waiting for the next Brazilian superstar to emerge and dominate the track once again, bringing that unique Brazilian flair to the sport. Will we see a new Brazilian champion in the upcoming 2023 season? Well, probably not, as Lance will be back in his seat for the start of the season. But one thing's for sure, the world of F1 is always more thrilling when there's a Brazilian driver on the track.